What's that? Oh, don't mind me just wiping off the massive amounts of egg on my face after the weekend there. So, yeah, it's Connor. I'm back again doing the carpool. We are going to discuss what happened at the weekend there. It is, you know, quite embarrassing for me, but I'm coming on to do it. I'm coming to take my lumps, take my medicine. Uh, after the, I wouldn't say disastrous, but disappointing result on the weekend there against Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final. But before we get into all that, and I've got a lot of points to get through, I want you guys to go down below, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, share the bus far and wide. Um, Go onto the sponsors website, piesports.com, if you be so kind, and use the code BUS1888 for 12.5% off your order at the checkout, if you so please, to get money off. And also, please remember, you can become a Bhoycie Bus member for the low fee of $1.99 a month, totally optional. But there is a wee bonus we're running out. If you do become a Bhoycie Bus member, or if you're already a Bhoycie Bus member, you will be entered in a competition to win the sticker packs. Now, there is more than 4. Don't worry, it's not just one person gets one sticker. Just an example there of the stickers that you can win in a sticker pack if you're a Bhoycie Bus member, or if you become a Bhoycie Bus member. So if you enter into that, you'll be entered in the competition in a few weeks' time. And if you're already, a part of the membership, then you'll be entered in that competition draw as well. And we'll let you all know in due course. So if you want to do that, become a Bhoycie Bus member down below, if you're, inclined that way. But, yeah, fuck me. I look like an absolute fanny, didn't I, after that? I mean, Jesus Christ. What was it I said? 6-1, 5-1. Didn't pan out that way, did it, Connor? You fucking idiot. But we've got to take our lumps, got to take it on the chin. I've got to say, congratulations, Aberdeen, winning the Scottish Cup final after beating Celtic on penalties. What turned out to be a very, very poor quality game. Let's be totally honest. There was a final played earlier on in the week between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, with obviously ex-Celtic manager Ange Postecoglou winning the competition. But that was put down as one of the worst finals of all time. And, fucking Aberdeen and Celtic went, sorry, Spurs, sorry, Man United, hold my beer. We're going to really show you up to show you how a really bad a final can be. Because it is 120, so plus penalties, 135 minutes of my life I'll probably never get back. But yeah, I wouldn't care if he won. I wouldn't be saying that if he wasn't. But obviously we lost, so it was such a poor game, and the only people that will probably ever remember it will be the Aberdeen fans because they won it, obviously. But it's not going to go down in the annals of history as one of the all-time great, Scottish Cup finals. I think we can all admit that Celtic were not at their best. Aberdeen certainly were not at their best, but I don't even know what Aberdeen's best actually is because it's been that long since we've actually seen it. But yeah, it's kind of epitomised by the fact that the only goals that were scored were 2 OGs. Obviously by the Aberdeen player, I can't remember who it was, and then a Kasper Schmeichel OG in the second half. It's just a very disappointing game. It's a very disappointing result. I feel like, we're not raging, we're not like bitter and angry. At least I'm not. I can't be when I was predicting when Davos scored Aberdeen and then we get shown up. But it's not. We can't sit here and say we were like robbed. We can't sit here and say, oh, we lost it by the skin of our teeth. Fact of the matter is, Celtic were nowhere near good enough. They were so slow, so pedestrian, so pedantic on the ball. Didn't do any of the things that we've come to expect from Celtic this past year. And it is following quite a disturbing pattern, which I'll get onto later on, that since January's rolled around, has crept into the Celtic style of play, the way the players have been performing, the manager, and I think we need to discuss all this because it needs to be said. Like, it does need to be discussed, to be totally honest. You know, at, at the end of the day, right, you can't win them all. And, we've made it look easy the last decade winning trebles. It's not easy. You've seen that, over the past years. Ange didn't only win a treble in his second season. Brendan Rodgers coming back has not won a treble yet. When Rangers won the league, all they got was the league. They couldn't even get a cup to go along with it. They couldn't even do a double. They only just got the league. St Johnstone did a cup double. Aberdeen have only won the Scottish Cup. Last season, Rangers could only win, the League Cup. It's very evident now that I feel like we maybe need to appreciate more the fact that we've won as many trebles as we have, and a lot of people go into it, and I was one of these people, to be totally frank, go into the season expecting the treble already, we like to get on to Rangers fans thinking they're going to win the league, every pre-season they think they're going to go and squish the league. There is a large contingent of Celtic supporters, I was one of them, who think, we'll win the treble every year because it's Celtic, because that's what we've done, famously for the last decade plus. It doesn't doesn't always work like that. It's very, very difficult, and making it look so easy has maybe been a bit of Celtic's downfall, because when it doesn't happen, we're a bit like, what the fuck's going on here then? Why didn't that happen? Because, that's what you come to expect of us, that's what we expect. Now, maybe you could argue that we have a higher expectation and a higher standard now we want our players to meet. But the standard this season, up until, the massive dip in form, which I will discuss, was really good. Start of the season, we were, on absolute fire. Like, let's be totally frank, we were unbeaten and got so many games. Like, it was crazy. And I'm kind of thinking next season, I'll get onto it later, but we need to go in with a more, I think, a different mindset than what we've had, previously, in thinking, let's put all our eggs in the basket for the league, and then whatever happens with Europe, what will come with me when we'll make it a bonus out of it or something. We need to really change the way the club think, the way the manager thinks, the way that everybody thinks about going to league campaigns, because we are going to be left behind in terms of European football, and we will just be a club that just wins things domestically, and we might not even win everything domestically if all we plan to do is spend for the league. Because as we've seen last couple of seasons, the player transfers and the goals for prepping for Europe maybe have been there this season, but we haven't won everything domestically. So if you take it a step further and look for things for further in Europe and focus on that, I think the league and domestic stuff will take care of itself. But I think we'll start from the start. The lineup came out. I was very surprised. I was very surprised at some, people that were left out, some people that didn't even make it on the bench, people who were starting. Was the lineup correct? In my opinion, no. Obviously, he got took off injured, but he's seen the impact James Forrest had as soon as he came on that pitch. He could argue he was our best player and didn't even really play that long because he had to get took off injured. He should have started yesterday. He should have started on the wing with Maeda through the middle and Kuhn on the other wing. I'm sick of shoehorning Adam Ida in to this team, to be perfectly honest, because he's the only out-and-out striker. Who gives a fuck? Daiza Maeda was scoring for fun when we put him in the striker position when Kyogo left. Now, funny enough, he hasn't scored in a long time when he was playing back on the wing again. So I don't understand why Rodgers has this thing where he has to justify starting Adam Ida when he doesn't deserve it. I think it's probably because he spent so much money on him. 9 million quid on a striker is It's for a player that had immediate quality as well. I think it's absolutely fucking crazy that we actually paid that. You know, Norwich well and fully pulled their pants down on that. And it's crazy. It's so mad that Rodgers is just persistent. People like to give Ange shit about, you know, his stubbornness and his tactics and picking favourites and blah blah blah. Rodgers is worse, and I'm not joking that. And look, I said last week on the show, and I still stick by this, that next season, if it's Rodgers last season, and he continues domestic success, and we still do okay in Europe, he gets to walk off into the sun, a Celtic legend, and I'm happy with that. I stick with that. I don't care. I still really like him as a manager. He's still brilliant. I still love him, but he's really fucking me off now. He's really pissing me off with a lot of the things he's doing. I have questions over his tactics, the fact that he seemed like he can't defeat a low block inside, that they just seem to just be your kryptonite. And we also can't beat a team that seemed to press us like what Rangers did. You know, and I don't really know how this team plays now. Like I don't really know what they do besides recycle the ball 150 gazillion times. You know, all they seem to do is pass the ball back, pass the ball back, and pass the ball back, rather than try an audacious pass, rather than try and go forward. Now you could argue we're maybe missing some players who would help with that. You know, like Rio Hatata, who was obviously unfortunately got took off injured the other week against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. You can't really, you know, blame anybody for that. It was just, you know, the game was done. You can maybe say he should have been brought on in the first place because the game was finished. There was no point in risking him. But you can't foresee a player absolutely losing their head and going and just halving him in two and then giving him an injury. But this comes back to the lineup. Now we started, you know, Bernardo, we started Engels, started McGregor. Only one of those players, in my opinion, has the capability to play, you know, the audacious pass, the great ball through, the risky pass that will sometimes come off, and that's Engels. And he didn't do it the entire game. He didn't even try it. He just played the safe pass. Same with Bernardo. Bernardo kept giving the fucking ball away. Callum McGregor was trying his whole off, and I have no, you know, but people are asking for McGregor to have the armband stripped off from that because he missed a fucking penalty. Get a grip, honestly. Some people need to get an absolute grip. But he was too busy tracking back, winning balls back, and doing all the things that Cam McGregor has to do to focus on going forward. So the other two players had to make up for that, but he didn't bother their arse. There's a young boy in Sean McCardle who came on against Aberdeen, granted the game was done, who played fucking amazing passes, who was like, well, like, who is this boy? He looks amazing. He hasn't even made the bench since that amazing cameo performance against Aberdeen. He didn't make it on, you know, trophy day, and hasn't made it in the Scottish Cup final bench either. Why? We're light on midfielders now. Some of them aren't performing. Bernardo's half fit. Hatati's injured. McGregor looks fucking puffed out. McCowan's form has dipped massively. So you've got a young boy McCardle there who you could bring on at the dying embers of the game to try something different. Try and do something different. He would give his absolute all if you brought him on in that Scottish Cup final. And I can guarantee you, if he had came on, we would have won that game. And I'm basing that right. And I know I'm basing that off very, very little. But from what I've seen, he's more than good enough to be, you know, a substitute on the bench for Celtic regularly. And I'm not just saying that. He should feel so hard done by with the fact that he came on against Aberdeen, put in a world of a performance, and hasn't been rewarded with even getting an appearance on the bench since. Mike Nawrocki plays against Aberdeen, looks comfortable as anything in a tricky away venue, scores his first goal, physically imposing, looks good in the air, so comfortable, didn't even make the bench in the Scottish Cup final. He puts Austin Trusty on the bench and starts Liam Scales. Nawrocki is a better centre-back than Scales and Trusty. I don't understand what Roger sees. I question it every single week when I look at the lineup, when I look at the bench. when I look at his subs are fucking baffling. In the second half, when we're nearing full time, he takes off every single player near enough that is a starting penalty taker. He takes off Arnie Engels, who has done nothing but score penalties all season. He scored 2 goals in open play. The rest have been penalties, and he hasn't missed a single one. Baffling to me. Crazy. And you could argue, Rodgers clearly didn't foresee it going to penalties. Why not? He's the fucking manager. It's a cup final. Anything can happen, like we've seen. Nobody predicted that, right? Nobody could have foresaw that. Not the journalists, not the pundits, not the Celtic fans, but the manager should. The manager should have a plan for every eventuality and every scenario that unfolds in that pitch. He has one plan. That's Plan Brodge. And if it doesn't go to plan, just do it more. And it really annoys me because it looks like we all, like the staff, the players, walked into this game, us as fans, went into this game thinking it was a formality. Thinking it's a done. I massively thought that. I massively thought, we're going to this game, we'll beat Aberdeen, no bother. They're fucking shite. We've pumped them all season. We've literally battered them with our B team. It looks like we'd have been better playing the B team in that cup final, to be totally honest. If we'd played them, if we'd started Ralston, if we'd started like even Ricardo, if we'd started Nawrocki, all those other guys, Sinisalo in the goal as well. If we'd started all those guys, we would have won that, I reckon, easily, about maybe 3-1. And Conor, you're basing it off nothing. I'm basing it off the fact they went and did it against Aberdeen a few fucking weeks ago. And they've got more to prove. They've got more to play for in the jersey. Complacency has set in to this team. And it's been evident since January. For a manager of Brendan Rodgers' stature and skill level, who almost took the German champions to extra time, away over in Munich, getting beat off a third-rate manager like Barry Ferguson is almost nigh unforgivable, to be honest. And we're over it now because we won the league and Rangers, you win fuck all, whatever. You still need to win these games. They are the lifeblood. They are the most, talked about games all season. We've won 1 in the league. And we won a cup final against them on penalties where we were also shite. Serious questions need asked of Rodgers, his subs, the players he's brought in, the tactics. I think going into next season, the slate needs wiped clean. It needs tore up for the root, and we need to try something different. Because I'm telling you right now, if them across the city get their act together, and we're still doing the same shit with the same squad of players, with the same tactics, we don't know what's going to happen next season. But I do have a good feeling about it. If, massive if, that's what we're going to next season being like. And there's been no consequences for the players who have been subpar. Engels still starts. Taylor still starts sometimes, even though I think he's actually been not bad. But Johnston still starts. A half-fit Schmeichel just comes straight back in, despite the fact that Sinisalo was holding down fort until he got himself fit. Why are you rushing him back? What, because it's a cup final? That clearly paid off, didn't it? He fucking bundled the ball in the back of his own net. Could have came and collected that easy. No, tries to palm it out or do whatever the fuck he was trying to do. And then totally fucks it. And I know he's been a brilliant signing. He had a penalty shootout heroics against Rangers earlier in the season, but that's when he was fully fit. He was not fully fit going into the match. I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care if he says he's fully fit. he wasn't fully fit. You could see that. You could see it in the kick, the way he was kicking out the ball. You could see it in the way we conceded. We didn't look comfortable from corners. He wasn't commanding as much as what he usually is. Sinisalo should feel really hard done by. Adamida still plays, still starts as a striker. Despite I can't even remember him fucking touching the ball in the final. He probably did. Did he even have a shot? I don't think he did. For a striker in a cup final for Celtic, that's god awful. That's terrible. Kuhn has been up and down recently. He scored a couple of goals, yeah, whatever. But since January, he was fucking poor. James Forrest came on against St Mirren, best player on the pitch, gets the equaliser. Does he start the day? Give him some, heroics in the Scottish Cup final against Aberdeen? No. And then he bother bring him on, when there's 20 minutes to go, then he gets himself fucking injured. And I'm not trying to be massively down on it about it, like whatever, we'll take it, we'll move on, as we always do. But we do need to discuss it, we do need to talk about it. Like, it's not, you can't just brush it under the carpet and be like, it's fine, we'll win a treble next season. We might not. We might only win the league next season, by the way. Like I said earlier on last week, I said we'll probably get pushed heavily in the cups next season. By Rangers, by Hibs, probably by whoever else has a good transfer window and who gets their shit together. It is not a given next season that Celtic will win anything, by the way. Just be aware of that. So, where do we go from here? Is the question. Where do we go from here? I think you need to start by clearing out the deadwood. We need to get rid of a lot of the players who are out on loan, whose time is done at the club. Guys like Stephen Welsh, fucking Lagerbielke, guys like that, out. Clear them out. Taylor's away, so we need to get another left back in to fill Taylor's spot. He's away. We could lose two of the best players we've had this season in Maid and Hatate. They could be gone. There is so much work needs to be done this summer, and it can't go understated. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it all summer. I'm going to say it now. This is potentially the biggest summer, in 10 years for Celtic. We need to go into this all guns blazing, everything locked, loaded, ready to go for next season. We cannot fuck about and do our usual. We will. You can almost guarantee we will, because it's the Celtic way. It's what they always do. It's what the board always do. But we need to get over, do what we need to be, what any fucking normal, well-run club needs to do. We need to have all our ducks in a row and take them out, and then we'll be fine. None of this scrambling about in the last fucking week for 2 emergency signings because we've fired about with transfer fees and all the rest of it. We've made about £46.5 million off the Champions League alone this season. We've made more money from playing in the Champions League this season than Tottenham and Man United have for getting to the fucking final of the Europa League. The money needs invested. It needs invested. It needs to be invested properly. Massive signs of need. Is Rodgers even trustworthy with player transfers? I'm going to be honest, I don't trust him with it. Because the fact of the matter is this, right? He is still dining out on Ange Postecoglou's legacy at Celtic. Christ, even Ronnie Dyler's legacy, for God's sake. Hatate dies in. Kyogo when he was here. Guys like that. Johnston, Carter Vickers. The mainstays in that team. Even Ralston, who Ange gave another, give another shot to, and guys, like Kieran Tierney's coming back, who was, brought into the team for Ronnie Dyler. Same thing with Callum McGregor. James Forrest been a mainstay in Celtic for fucking about 15 years. You look at it. Rodgers' signings since he's came back have been very, very poor. Very poor. Palmer, dud. Engels, massive question marks over him. Marco Tilio, dud. Toten Thiago Home, dud. Yang, possible dud. Oh wait, that was fucking Ange, sorry, Brendan. Bernardo, alright. McCowan, done well when he came in, been a bit poor. His best signings been a free fucking transfer in cash for Schmeichel. Couldn't have had a good start to the season, then dipped off massively. Who else has he bought? Fucking Trusty. Dud. Lagerbielke, dud. I mean, it's crazy, like, how one manager who's brought us so much success domestically can't get transfers right. You know, Nawrocki has shown signs that he's a good player, good solid player. Doesn't get a game. Bizarrely, doesn't get a game. Sinisala was brought in as the backup keeper. He's done all right. He's done pretty well. I'll give Rodgers that. Adamida had her pants pulled down for fucking £9 million. He's came in. He's fucking not it. He's nowhere near a starting striker for Celtic. Rodgers is still living off the legacy of previous managers. The players he's brought in, for 95% of them, ain't been at it. So that's when I go into this summer and I'm like, back am I, but the players he's going to bring, are they going to be good enough? You know, £11 million on Ali Engels. If that's what £11 million gets you, then now, for an okay player who's good at taking a penalty, then, you know, I fear, you know, Desmond's going to have to loosen the purse strings a bit more. And we've already said that anyway. We should be buying, you know, at least 2, 3, 11 to 12 million pound players every transfer window. And you know, I don't know what the future holds. I mean, Christ, I seen an article yesterday that they're trying to sign. There's another one, Jeffrey Schlupp, dud. Looks like we're trying to sign Jeffrey Schlupp on a permanent contract. Why? What has he shown that he deserves a fucking full-time contract at Celtic? Nothing. He had a couple of good appearances. He had one good performance against Bayern Munich, and he's been crap since. Fair enough, he had an excellent shot yesterday, but didn't go in. It came off the bar. But, you know, one potential maybe goal does not a Celtic player make. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I probably am. With some of this. And I've gotten a lot more animated and a lot more heated as the discussions went on, because I'm starting to realise that things ain't so green and rosy now, really, in terms of the potential future for next season for Celtic. We've had a really good domestic season and an excellent European campaign, to be totally honest, by Celtic standards. But, you know, you never know when the floor's going to fall from underneath you. You know, it is really, really scary for me that the quagmire we're in and the questions that we'll have next season potentially about where this team's going. The team's reached the natural end to its cycle. It needs rejigged. It needs something fresh, something new. It needs a new style of play. It needs new players. It needs a bit of life injected into it, as we've seen. And I just pray to God, whatever God you hold dear, pray to them now. If you're a Celtic fan, that we can go into next summer and start next season, you know, having the summer of all summers in terms of transfers and stuff like that, because, you know, the track record ain't good for that, guys. Let's be honest. But that's been me doing the Carpool. Sorry, it's been a bit of a downer one today, but, you know, I had to take my lumps. I had to discuss it. I had to get all that off my chest. But don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave comments down below in the chat. Do what you like to do. Also, don't forget, use code BUS1888 at the checkout in piesports.com if you want 12.5% off your order. Also, you'll be entered in the competition for these stickers if you become a Bhoycie Bus member for $1.99, and if you're already a member, you will also be entered in said sticker competition. But guys, that's for me doing the carpool. I hope you've enjoyed. Please let me know if I've been out of order. If I am totally wrong, please let me know. If I'm talking shite, if I'm being, too reactionary. I'm actually calmed down, by the way. This is me calm. But if you agree with me, if you don't, any debate is welcome. Please let me know down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll see you another time, hopefully when we get some news about potential incomings and outgoings and the like. But anyway, see ya.